You're listening to the Hunt Stealth Podcast with Ryan Uffins, the podcast where we dive headfirst into the wild. Whether you're an aspiring hunter or an adventurer seeking the untamed, together we'll explore the strategies and stories that lead to success in the great outdoors.
Hey guys, welcome to the Hunt Stealth Podcast. Excited to have Jeff Barlow on the show today. Jeff Barlow hails from Price, Utah. And your social media profile is Nimrod Outdoors. Is that correct?
Yep, that is correct.
Okay. So, Jeff, tell me a little bit about Nimrod Outdoors, if you would, please. I want to get to know a little bit about the founding of that.
Okay, pretty good story actually. About 2010, my wife and I we shared a social media account together, with a Facebook account together, and she came to me one day and she goes, "You know what? I'm sick and tired of seeing all your hunting stuff on my Facebook account." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, wait a minute. How come that's your Facebook account?" So I decided to do something different. And about that same time, I was reading in the scriptures about Nimrod in the Old Testament. And it says that Nimrod was a powerful man on earth and a mighty hunter. And I thought, man, what better name to have for a social media account? So that's what we did. Is we started up as Nimrod Outdoors. My wife and I, we have 7 kids. 6 of them are boys. And so our oldest at that time, the 2 oldest were just starting into the teenage years. And I was looking for something to do with them to stay involved in their lives. And of course, at that age, everything was going to social media.
Right.
So we started up Nimrod Outdoors. And we have a Facebook account, we have an Instagram account, we have, all these others. We have a YouTube channel where we filmed all of our hunts, put them up on YouTube. And, it started out to be something just that I could be involved with my boys and always doing something with them, the stuff that they enjoyed doing. And it's evolved into something pretty awesome. And now we have a digital journal of the last 15 years of everything that we've done outside, all of our hunts and everything we do outside. And it's been pretty awesome. We can go back and watch those videos now and laugh at each other. Holy cow, you were pretty little then, all this type of stuff. And it's just been a great digital journal to have now. So it's been a lot of fun. But that's where
awesome.
Nimrod Outdoors came from.
So I think that's a great story. That's a ton of fun. Yeah, Nimrod. That name sometimes gets thrown around in a different context, and rather than the mighty man and a mighty hunter.
Yes, it truly does. It in fact, I think it was Elmer Fudd that that they called the Nimrod. And that's where that social misfit nut goofy guy came to be, as a Nimrod, If you look at our Nimrod logo, it kind of fits that description, because we wanted to use the slang word of Nimrod. So our social media, our logo, it has the front end of an elk, the front diggers and things like that, and then it morphs into a mule deer from there. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of screwed up, kind of a Nimrod. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So Jeff, tell me, have you always hunted your entire life?
I have. I actually grew up in southern Utah, in St. George area. My parents were from a very small town. And so hunting's always been in my makeup. I've got a buck hanging on my wall that my grandfather shot in 1934 in the middle of the Depression. And it's just a great big cactus buck. It's about 34 inches wide, really terrible genetics, but it's just a cactus buck. Shot it in October and it still has the velvet on it. Yeah, it's really cool. It was, the story to that is amazing. And if we have time, we can get into that. But
Well, let's dig into it right now.
okay. Well, so Grandpa, he was working for the county road department in 1934 in the middle of the Depression. And he came home for lunch. He was working for $1 a day at that point in time. He came home for lunch one day, and something told him to go hunting. So he grabbed his gun and he walked out of the house and up into the foothills there by the house. And he sees this buck and he shoots this buck. He ended up shooting it 3 times within that big. The buck never fell. It just kind of lowered its nose to the ground and then kind of lowered itself to the front knees and then to the back knees and then just laid there and died.
Wow.
So it was a big old tough buck. Anyways, he hauled it back to town, and word got around town that Grandpa had killed a really big buck. And this California guy that was in town hunting came to Grandpa and said, "Hey, I'll give you $100 for that buck." And Grandpa was like, "That's a lot of money, but I really need the meat to feed my family. I don't know what to do." And the guy said, I don't want the meat. You can keep the meat. I just want the head." And Grandpa's like, "Deal." Deal, you can take it. So he got to keep all the meat, feed his family, got the $100 from the California guy. That got him through the Depression. Years later, in the late 80s, the guy from California ended up dying, and his widow contacted my grandfather and says, "Hey, my husband died. Would you like your head back?" And Grandpa said, "Yeah, I'd love to have it back." And so it came back to the family. Grandpa kept it in his house till he died. Then my uncle kept it in his house. And about 5 or 6 years ago, my uncle asked me if I wanted it because I was the only one that really wanted it. And so now I've got it hanging on my walls there in the family room. So it's really an incredible story. The buck that got him through the Depression.
That's wild. You forget sometimes, it's so close, but it's also seems so far away. The time frames, it's crazy how things change. But yeah, I mean, it's always the California guys, right?
Yeah.
California guys come in, they're like, "Hey, I wonder how many stories he told that, yeah, he's like, I shot this
Oh yeah.
buck in St. George."
He
But
ended up
but
using
also
He ended up
go
using it
ahead.
to win a lot of big buck contests down there in California from what we've heard. So
Oh, really?
he got his money's worth, I guess.
Well, the cool thing, I think the cool part of that story is that he kept your grandfather's information,
Yeah.
and that the widow was like savvy enough to, because I mean, if I had something like that, my wife and I passed away, she'd be like, "Just I want it out of the house now.
Yeah, get it out
Just
of
I
here.
want it gone. Get it out of here." But to try and find, I mean, clearly he must have shared that story, who he did get it from,
Yep.
and that. So it's pretty cool that it's been able to return back to the rightful family, I guess, if you
Yep.
will.
It's almost 100 years old now and it's still hanging on the wall. So
That's wild. Yeah, 91 years. That was 91
yeah.
years ago.
Yep.
That's
I can send you some pictures of it. It's a really cool looking buck.
yeah, for sure. Send them over, and I'll add them into the episode if I
Cool.
can. But that's awesome. So he got $100. California dude took the head,
Yep.
and then he was able to keep the meat to feed his family.
Win-win.
It's funny. Yeah, and then so your grandfather did get it back before he had passed away then.
He did.
Am I
Yep.
understanding that correct? Okay, so he was able to have that back, and oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So
That's a
yeah,
lot of fun.
hunting's been in my DNA for a long, long time.
For generations, for
Yep.
sure. That's super cool. And I think that's fun that you guys started this Nimrod Outdoors with your boys and that, to be able to get out there. I saw one of the pictures you sent over. You got quite the crew out there
Yes.
on that elk hunt.
Yeah, my littlest, he's 11, and he didn't want to wake up early on the day that we killed that bull. But he says, "If you get something, you better come back and get me so that I can help cut it up because I want to cut it up." So when we got the bull down, one of the older boys ran back to camp and got him and brought him down to the bull, and sure enough, he dove right in and helped us cut it up. And So it was pretty
Oh,
awesome.
that's fun.
Yeah, it was pretty
That's
awesome.
fun. That's exciting to be able to share those types of things because I didn't grow up hunting. I mean, I've got a ton of memories doing stuff with my family,
Hmm.
but this whole hunting thing with it being new is a lot of fun. I'm hoping that I get to harvest my first animal this weekend. We're heading back out, me and the crew, Dustin and my
Good.
boy Jackson. We got a couple buck tags and then we've got, our OTC elk tag so we can shoot a doe or a spike.
Yep.
We went out opening weekend and we had seen I roughly I think it was almost 27 cows.
Oh my heavens.
Um, Jackson and Dustin were on one ridge and they got to about 200 yards. I had I had mine and there's like I've got two. I have the tag
Yep.
and and everyone's going like, you just have to kill something. Like you just have to kill. And so I'm watching, there's somebody had chased these cows off of the other ridge and I'm watching them. There's like 7 of them coming running down the hill. And I'm like, "Oh," I got my phone out. I'm like, "I'm gonna capture this," and I'm going, "Oh crap, they're coming right at me." And so I hurried, grabbed my bow, and like nocked an arrow. And I had kind of a good little setup. I had a tree which provided me some cover from the front, and then a nice little rock ledge I'd been able to like kind of set up and do some spotting. And it's amazing for how large these animals are, how they can also just disappear on you like that. So they come down and I range it at the bottom and they're about 150 yards. And I'm going, they're going to pop right up. I mean, they were coming right at me and they dropped down and it was, I, I was about halfway down this ledge and they would have, in my mind, they were going to pop up right on top of me.
Yep.
And so I'm sitting there like I draw back and I could hear them. And then all of a sudden, like nothing. And I've got this, like, great
Gone.
view of the entire canyon, and they went down into this little ravine and just completely disappeared. And I'm going, "Where on earth did these things go?" And so after, I'm like, "Okay, well, did they stop?" And finally, I'm like, "Alright, well, I'm gonna hike down there," just there's this little ledge that I mean, they coulda climbed up it easy, but I'm like, "I don't know where they went." I went down there, and I looked to the right, and I can see all the way up the canyon and there's nothing. And I look to the left and I can see down, I don't know, probably a half mile and they
Nothing.
just disappeared, gone. And, that, I mean, that was the first time since I've been hunting that I've been on cows. And yeah, I thought for sure that I was going to be able to harvest one of these cows, but there's also a part of me that's like kind of glad that this cow didn't come up because the unit that we were in, I could only shoot, like I said, a cow or a spike,
Uh-huh.
and I would have shot it, but yeah, it ended up not working out. And that same canyon that we were in, we'd seen like 18 bucks like
Oh
the
man.
previous 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and not a one.
Nothing.
But
Ghost.
no, nothing. Just disappeared. But so I started going like, I don't know what's going on. So I mean, I probably put in 10 miles that day, but I went down this canyon and also I start hearing this like blah. And
Sheep.
I'm like, oh, sheep, like 300 sheep. And
Oh
I'm like, well,
man.
that would explain why I mean, normally, from what I understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the bucks typically are okay with the sheep. Um, but the elk disappeared. We saw more elk with the sheep in that canyon than we did bucks, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's
It's
kind of weird how they work. I see it most frequently. The bucks don't like the sheep. No, other way around. Bucks don't mind the sheep. The elk don't mind the cows, but they don't like the other one.
yeah, yeah,
So
vice
the
versa. Yeah, I didn't see any
families
cows.
that
I
have
mean,
moved.
other than the kind I could shoot at. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's fun. I'm excited to get back out there and
Cool.
I'm gonna
What
hunt
unit are you hunting?
manti.
Of the Manti? Very
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Well,
So
get with
yeah, we
we live on the Manti, so if you need any hints or anything, that's our unit. It's only 35 minutes from the house, so
yeah. Yeah, we'll hang on after and I can
there
show you
you
my pins that I got. You can say like, "Hey, you're in the right area,"
go.
or not. I
There
mean,
you
we've been on them
Yep,
until the season opened, and then we just went out a little short. I mean, there were so many people out, but it
yeah,
was wild. I only came into one other hunter
that's
up
pretty
where I
good.
was at,
That's pretty good.
and I was expecting to see a whole bunch of people, either that or they saw me and stayed hidden. but but yeah, I mean, every once in a while you bump into someone, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed getting out there and learning, and it'll be fun to have my son out there with me when we.
Very nice.
I don't care who it is. I just one of us has got to harvest something this year.
So
So
first year hunting, then
so this is my fifth year.
fifth year hunting. Okay.
Fifth year, yeah, but I've only been able to get close enough to draw back on anything. It was the very first time I went hunting. I had a bull elk at like 30 yards, and it was the cool. I didn't have a clean shot on vitals.
Uh-huh.
And he was in scrub oak, and I just waited, and then the wind he winded me.
Yep.
He stopped, turned, and looked, and was like, "Later, dude."
Yeah.
And it was the last day. It was the last day of the archery season.
Yeah.
So he blew out of there, and I looked for him the rest of the day and couldn't find
Couldn't
him.
find him. Yep.
But it was a lot of fun. This is the first year that I've actually been out chasing buck, though.
Oh, cool.
So I'm out trying to get a mule deer this year. All the other years I've done the OTC elk,
Mhm.
and um, you know, last year we focused on Jackson, like trying to get him something. But yeah, we got the whole crew out there. We got a fun little group that goes out, and we're gonna do Manti, try and see what we can get done over the next 4 days, and then the following week we're heading up to the Uintas to see if we can chase some
Open.
bull.
That's nice. Nice. That'll be fun.
So I'm hoping they're bugling. I actually heard we had heard bugling opening weekend,
Oh, cool.
and I mean it wasn't a ton of it, but it was like early in the morning. It was like 5:30, and I'm
Yeah.
going. I would be shocked if there's like another hunter bugling that early.
Hey, with this weather that we've had the last couple of days here in Utah, you might hear some good stuff this weekend.
No, I hope so. That's the one thing I haven't been out, and Dustin and Quinn and those guys are like, dude, when you're out and they're like in the rut bugling, they're like,
Oh,
it's insane.
yeah, it is. It's an unreal experience for sure.
Yeah.
We had
So Jeff,
that
go
that
ahead.
that picture that some of those pictures I sent you there. We just killed that buck or that bull opening weekend.
Okay.
I'd actually drawn an expo tag from the Hunt Expo. I'd
Okay.
given them my money for I don't know how many years, and I finally drew one of those $5 expo tags. It was for the Wasatch unit, which we had
Okay.
a lot of time on. So we put in a ton of scouting, and we the night before the opener, we betted our number 2 bull, and my wife's like, "Are you going to go after the number 1 or number 2?" And I'm like, "I got to go after the number 2 bull because we betted him. We know right where he's at. We haven't seen the number 1 bull in 2.5 weeks. We don't know where he went. I mean, we got to go after number 2." And so the next morning we went after him, and we got up on the ridge above, and my other boys and my good friend Ryan Greenfield, they were scoping across at us and kind of guiding us in, and we were working our way down um, to our number 2 bull, and we got to within 50 yards ish, and we couldn't see him. There was a ton of deadfall in front of us. We couldn't see over it. So we knew we were getting close. And then my boy that was with me, my oldest, he was videoing, and he catches the tips of the antlers, and we're like, "Oh, he's right there. He's close." And we still couldn't see. because of all this deadfall. And so I had to jump up on this great big stump, and I got up on this stump and I was able to see, and I had a good clean shooting lane. I had a quakey tree on this side and then a good shooting lane where his vitals were. Then there was a bush cover in his front shoulder and part of his neck, and then I could see his head. So there was just beautiful little shooting lane right there. And I asked my boy, I said, what's the range? What's the range? And he says, I can't see him. I'm down below. I can't see him. I don't know what the range is. I'm like, okay, I'm guessing. I mean, he looks at 30. Anyways, I draw back and I shoot. And as soon as I shoot, I knew I'd missed because I hadn't adjusted for the steep down angle. And it slid right over his back. And on the video from my boys on the other side of the canyon, videoing through their phone scope, they could see that the arrow come in and actually slice the bull right across the back. And
oh, really?
You can see the red mark right across the back where it sliced him right across the back. And I thought the whole world was over. I'd missed my number 2 bull, and ended up that there was 2 other 6 points just down below. And so we kept working and kept getting in there, got closer and closer. And we got to the point that there was a little patch of those 5-foot tall quakies. So you couldn't see through them for nothing, but we could see the horns of both of them just on the backside of these quakies. And we were 10 yards. We were within 10 yards of these bulls. And we were there for probably 10 to 15 minutes. And I was just trying to find a shooting lane, trying to get a shooting lane. And the one I ended up bedding, and I didn't see him bed. We could still see the other one moving around in the trees with his horns and stuff. And so I worked my way around to the left just a little bit. And I ended up finding a great little spot that I had a shooting lane in case any of them came past. And we could see the one was still in full velvet, and that's how we could tell them apart. And we could see him off to the left just a little bit, and we didn't know quite where the other one was that was bigger of the two. And so we were trying to be really quiet and careful. And I took one step and I snapped a twig, and the bull stood up and looked right at me. And it is amazing. You talked about how big these animals are. They are really, really big when they're live on the hoof. Anyways, It seemed like eternity. He was staring at me. He finally puts his head down and kind of turns just a little bit. And I draw back and I shoot. And I hit him. And I asked my son, I said, what pin do you use at 8 feet? That bull, we had snuck to within 8 feet of that bull when he stood up and looked at me. And man, they are really big at 8 feet. My boy says, you use them all. I said, that's what I did. I just put all my pins on him and shot him. So he went about 75 yards and tipped over, and the rest is history. But the reason I was telling you that story is my good friend Ryan Greenfield. We've been hunting together for quite a few years. He had befriended this other guy that was just getting into hunting. He had just bought a bow, got his very first tag. It was his very first hunt. It was opening morning, and he got to sit and watch this whole thing go down, of me sneaking in and killing this elk at 8 feet. And when we got down there and we were packing this elk out, we turned to him and said, 99.9999% of the time, it does not happen like this. so just get used to it. So this is crazy. It was an awesome experience to have Mike out there in the hills with us, and just to teach him and introduce him to hunting. But we made sure that he understood.
Yeah, but what an introduction, man. I mean, what an introduction. I mean, I get it. It's like, hey, temper expectations. Like, it normally doesn't work out like this ever. But
miss one bull and still get on another one and shoot him at 8 feet. Yeah, it just does not happen like this.
Well, you must be doing something right.
So
The old namesake, the old Nimrod, a great hunter,
yeah,
is coming through.
alive and well.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I feel like each time, like we went out and got skunked, but that opening weekend, but still having cows come to within, well, I ranged them at 150 yards. One of them had come up and I had kind of seen the back and the wind was coming up the canyon. So I don't think I got winded,
Hmm.
but I saw her and she kind of just was right there for a minute. And I'm going like, man, I'm like, I draw back and it gives you
Oof.
hunting, I feel like teases you. It gives you just enough. It's kind of like I hate golf. I don't golf. It's like I think golf is the worst sport in the entire world. But I've also played enough golf that it does give you just enough that like keeps you coming back. But
Oh
I'm
yeah,
glad that I found like a new focus because even when you're out hunting, if you don't get anything, I mean, the experiences that you have out in the woods, they're
yeah.
just like, to me, they're unmatched. It's
Okay.
like you get out, you get into your spot and it's still dark. And then, like first light breaks and things start to kind of like come alive. And it's just, I don't know, man, it's magical to be out
It is.
there. And um, it, it does something for me. And I think for a lot of people, like to the soul, it's like, it's healing to be out there.
It is. It's. I've told a lot of people. I have some friends that aren't hunters that I've talked with and things like that, and they ended up getting bows and just shooting bows in their backyard. They said it's so therapeutic just to get out there and just to shoot your bow. And I said, yeah. And then you get on the mountain the smells and the sights and the everything that goes on. It's relaxing for sure. You might
Yeah.
hike 10 miles, but at the end of the day, you're like, man, I feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing you talk about the smells. So that bowl that I had the experience with on my very first one, like I never smelled him.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been close enough to smell any elk, but like when we were walking in, hiking in, on opening day, and I told Dustin, I was like, "Did you hear that?" I'm like, "I swear I heard an elk bugle." He's like, "No." He's like, "They won't be bugling now." And I'm like, "Well, I get that. I get that it's not the right time." I'm like, "But I'm telling you, like I heard what I heard."
I
And like it's funny because like my wife and kids are always like, "Do can you hear?" And I'm like, not great, but there are certain pitches that I pick up, and for whatever reason, that elk bugle is one
Yep.
that I'm like, I'm telling you, that's an elk. Anyway, then we had like a breeze came up and it hit us, and Dustin's like, I think you heard an elk bugle. He's like, and they're close. He's like, I mean, we could smell them. And anyway, it was there's been a couple times when we were hiking in and out that they had to be close, but the woods, some of the areas you go into are so thick and they're just
Oh
not
yeah.
highly traveled that it's just, I mean, you could be right on top of them and not know it.
Yeah. Yep. Very much.
Um, but yeah, that smell. So there's that smell, which is very unique to elk. There's also just like the other smells of like the pine and the sage and everything that it's just, man, it's
And then one
if
of
you
my
haven't been out
favorites.
there, like you can't describe it to somebody. I can't
Yeah.
describe it. There's probably people that are much better at articulating that type of stuff, but
One of my favorites has got to be a high mountain thunderstorm and a rainstorm. Just love the thunderstorms and the rainstorms up in the mountains. The smells it brings, when it knocks down all that dust with the rain and everything is just crisp and clean and yeah, that's one of my favorites.
yeah, there's so much to love about it. Um, and yeah, it is. It's just, I don't know. I'm excited to get back out there again, spend a little bit more time on the mountain than we did that opening weekend. But yeah, it's healing, man. It's to me,
It
and I
is.
think to a lot of people, it's super healing. And then good for you, man, to get it done on opening weekend.
Yeah, it was
Get
pretty
out
pretty
there and
awesome.
yeah, there's guys that go out there and just get it done. I haven't been one yet. I mean, I'm
You'll
looking forward to
you'll get
just
there.
figuring out.
You-
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is the year. This is the year for sure. I know we're going to get it done. So, Jeff, like what is your favorite animal to hunt?
Oh man. So I love a big muley buck. There's something about them, but I love hunting elk when they're making noise. The sounds, oh man, it's just amazing to get within bow range of a bugling bull and just have the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. It's just absolutely amazing. Um, in 2018, I was lucky enough to draw a once in a lifetime moose tag here in Utah.
Oh,
And
wow.
that was an incredible experience to hunt moose. So I don't know, man. There's so many goods of each one of them. It's hard to pick an animal for me.
Well, since you brought it up, tell me about this moose hunt.
Okay, well, um, it was drew a Wasatch tag. The the unit is really big for moose on the Wasatch tag. It actually includes the entire Manti unit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is a massive unit. So we spent a ton of time looking and trying to decide where we're going to go. We actually passed up um, 3 bulls opening morning. We actually helped 2 other hunters get on 2 of them and watch both of them shoot them. So that was really cool. One of them had 27 points. It was an older gentleman. We watched him shoot that bull. And then we got another a lady. She had 34 points. And we watched this bull and got her on it. They happened to drive by and we said, "Hey, we got one right here. It's not far off the road. It'd be a pretty easy one for you." And they said, "Yeah, let's do it." And so they went after that one and ended up getting that one. Um, and then we passed on another one. It was a good bull, just not quite what I was looking for. We spent a lot of time hunting, a lot of time looking. Um, we went up. It was October 6th, so I still had a couple weeks left in the hunt. We went up Big Cottonwood Canyon. We had spent a lot of time in Big Cottonwood Canyon, and it's hard to hunt that because there's so many people. I mean, you got mountain bikers, you got hikers, I mean, there's just a ton of people that
Right.
hike those trails. Um, uh, Earlier, this would have been so I got him on the 6th. The 3rd, I actually had missed a big bull with my bow. We were walking up the trail just right at daylight. It was just starting to get light. We happened to come around this corner, and there was this big bull laying in the middle of the trail. He was just laid out right there. He saw us, we saw him, and he stood up, and he just kind of started to walk off. And in the chaos of me trying to get my arrow and all that kind of stuff, he walked off. So we kind of chased him up through there, and I ended up getting a shot at him. I had 2 shots at him with my bow. The first shot was at about 40 yards. And if you think buck fever is bad, oh man, you ought to try the moose shakes, because I didn't come to full draw. I didn't even level my arrow out. I drew back, and about right here I pulled the trigger. The arrow went flying. He kind of spooked a little bit and ran up the hill a little bit further, and we kind of followed him up through there. The second shot I had him at 35 yards. And at that point, I'd calmed down, and I was calm as could be. I was just rock steady. I drew back. I had him at 35. I was dead still, and I shoot. And at about 27 yards, I hear this ting, and I caught a little branch that came out of the tree, and boom, it went up and over him, and he took off, and we never saw him again after that. And so, man, I was like devastated that I'd missed this bull. Well, 3 days later on the 6th, we were going back up through that same trail trying to find that bull. And as we parked up Big Cottonwood Canyon, it started to rain a little bit on us. And as we hiked up the trail, about halfway up the trail, it turned to snow. And then as we got back in a little bit further, there was probably about 3 inches of snow on the ground. And as we were walking up the trail, we cut a moose track going across the trail. I'm like, that's a big bull. That's a big track right there. That's a big bull. So me and my boys, we jumped on that track and we tracked that sucker for almost 4 miles. He never sat down. He just kept walking and kept walking. We stayed right on his tracks. I remember coming up and over the ridge thinking we were going to see him, and we started coming down the backside, and we ran into two guys that were hunting deer on the extended archery. And they said, dude, you're right on him. Keep going. You're like 5 minutes behind him. He just came through here. I thought he was going to run me over.
Wow.
So we just kept on him. And we got up on this next hill, and we got to a point that we had a great vantage of this basin below. And I said, he's going to be down in that basin. We just got to sit here and watch. And so we watched for an hour or so. The sun had come out. We were trying to warm up because my little ones were getting cold, and so we were trying to warm up. We grabbed a little bite to eat, and we never found him. So I said, let's just jump back on his tracks. And so we started on his tracks, and we were on a south-facing slope, so a lot of the snow had melted off. And I thought, oh, crap, we're going to lose his tracks. And we started to try to track him and go down the ridge where he was headed. And I'm looking for tracks. I've got my head down looking for tracks. And my son reached over and hit me in the chest and said, stop, he's right there. And we looked up, and he was just bedded down under a tree 100 yards from us. He was probably only 150 yards from where we had been sitting for the last hour trying to look for him. So we're like, okay. And I said, I'm not playing this game again. This is an illegal weapon hunt. So I pulled the 300 out of my backpack, and I pulled up and I shot him. And he tipped over right there in his bed, and we're all hooting and hollering and saying yay and all this kind of stuff. And all of a sudden he sets right back up. I'm like, what the heck? So I stopped and I put another round in him, and he tipped back over, and I thought, okay, there we go. We're good. And so we gave it a while, and we went down to him. And as we get down to him, he's not moving, but he's still alive. And I watch him with his eyeballs, and he's watching us as we walk around him. So I ended up having to put another round into him just to kill him and get him dead. But it was amazing how strong that moose was. I was like 3 rounds from a 300 in the chest, and it was amazing. But that was a really, really cool experience to have my boys there with me hunting on that one, and to be able to enjoy that whole thing with them. Made a phone call.
Yeah, you get to pull like. Go ahead.
I made a phone call to my buddy. Said, Ryan, we got a bull down. Get up here. He says, I'll call some guys and get some packers, and they all showed up and helped us pack it out. And yeah, it was an amazing experience.
That's exciting. That's wild. I mean, you kind of go through like all these highs and lows. It's like you're nice, you're helping out other people.
Yep.
Get their, punch their tag, and then yeah, I was talking with Jay down at Wild Arrow, and he had talked about like he'd been, wanting to save up, and he's like, I'm gonna, be 25, 30 years before I get my moose tag.
Yeah.
And I got another buddy who had messaged, and he's like, I'll probably be able to draw my moose tag when I'm 90. and he'll probably still be out on the side of the mountain hunting too.
Yeah.
But that's fun. I mean, to be able to like, coming kind of down to the wire, and snow comes in, and all of a sudden, you get these tracks that are like, oh, I think that might be something.
Yeah. That's one thing that I love and hate at the same time. I hate the snow. I hate being cold, but I absolutely love hunting in the snow.
So, yeah, I mean, love
Yep.
hate with the snow. There's the benefits to it. I'm like you, like, I hate being cold. Like,
Yep.
I actually it's funny, like, I'm allergic to the cold.
Yeah.
So, when and I say that, but, like, actually, I'm super nervous about hunting, like, in the snow because if I get wet, if I start sweating and it's
Yep.
cold, like, my whole body breaks out in hives.
Oh, really?
So when I say, like, I'm allergic to the cold,
That's
like, I'm
crazy.
and it started, I don't know, probably, like, 15 years ago. I never had a problem with it, but we were sledding and hiking up, I had the kids out, and I'm dragging them up the mountain, they'd slide down, drag them back up the mountain, and it was cold, and was sweating, and so, like, that temper regulation thing for me in hunting is gonna be, like, super
Yeah.
key in the winter, 'cause I don't know, I mean, I don't know anything's gonna happen. I mean, it's annoying and they itch, but like I legitimately like when I get cold and wet, if I start sweating, like I wherever I'm wet, it like breaks out with
Like,
I'll break out with hives.
that is insane. That
So
is
maybe pack some.
insane.
Maybe I need to. I'm glad we talked about this because maybe what I'll do is just toss some Benadryl in the pack right now.
Yeah, good idea. Wonder what it is that's doing it. That's crazy.
So I went into the dock and there's like are people that just develop like allergies to the cold or like it's an actual thing. I can't remember what it was called.
Wow.
I've gotten pretty good at just regulating. Like if I feel myself start getting hot, like I'll just shed a layer in the
Yep.
winter. But yeah, I mean, we'd gone up in the extended archery with Dustin, and his brother Colton,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't have any problems. I mean, it was cold, it was snowy, but we also didn't push too hard, where we went.
That
So I do have to definitely gauge like my effort level
Yep, yep.
because that is something that's kind of, I mean, I don't think anything would happen other than it's annoying, but
But that
you don't want to be itching
distracts
and
and from your focus, and I mean, it distracts from everything.
yeah, yeah,
That's
it's a lot of
crazy.
fun. What have you got any other tags that you're looking to fill the remainder of the year, or have your
So,
boys got stuff? Like, what's going on?
yeah, so the remainder of this year, I've got one of my boys that has a tag like yours, a spike cow tag, that he's trying to fill. I've got a boy that's got an archery deer tag on the Wasatch unit. Um, like I said, we'd never hunted that, but when I drew that at the expo, he says, "Hey, I might as well put in for a deer tag there while we're there." So he's got
Yeah,
that hit tag, and we're going to try to go out this weekend and see if we can get that filled. And then I've got my second youngest son has a muzzleloader tag for deer, and I've got a dedicated hunter. I'm on my year 3 of my dedicated hunter, and I
okay,
think with everything else that's going on, my daughter, my one girl, out of the 7 kids, she did not draw a tag this year, and so I think I'm going to mentor her off of my dedicated hunter tag, and let her do the mentor program and hunt the muzzleloader and the rifle with my tag. So that youth mentor thing is pretty amazing. Pretty amazing program that the state of Utah has done. I think most states probably have some kind of thing like that, but to be able to let my kid hunt off of my tag, that's pretty awesome.
I didn't know that. I knew they had like the mentor program because that's actually how I got started hunting. Because
Oh, good.
like I started looking when I very first did not the youth one, but they have like that. So
Hmm.
rather than doing the hunter safety, you do like the mentor program. You
Yeah.
have to go out with somebody. You have to go out with somebody who's 21 or older and has a hunter's license,
Yep.
which was my son,
Your
who
son.
was 21, and
It's
he
perfect.
had he'd gotten his hunter safety when he was, I don't know, 14. But I was going to go and try and do. I had gone through and done the online portion, but it was like in the middle of the season and there were no classes. I was like 3 months out from being able to go in and do it.
Oh man.
And my brother-in-law was like, "You should look at the mentor program." And so you go out, it's like, I don't know, like 8 questions. It's super simple. It's
Hmm.
like basically don't be a Nimrod,
Yep.
right? Like
Yep. Exactly.
and anyway, so that was how I had kind of gotten started. So I never went out, obviously couldn't go by myself, but went out with my son and a couple other buddies. And that was how I had gotten started. And then finally, eventually did the, full hunter safety like shebang. But so there's another mentor program. So if you have the dedicated hunter, you can let one of your kids
Yeah. I
hunt.
mean, any tag, you can go in and pay a fee. From my understanding, I've got to go to the DWR just to make sure of all the details, but you can pay like a $10 fee, and then they can hunt off of your tag. So
Okay.
even that big bull tag, I think you could mentor somebody off of that if I would have wanted to. Um,
Right.
but the mentor program is pretty awesome program to be able to get people involved in hunting that have not had the opportunity to do so. So it's pretty cool.
I
Uh,
think our state does a good job of trying to, foster that love for hunting with like the young. They've got a lot of like the
I
young
think so.
youth programs and that.
Yep.
So
I think, yeah, they've done some great youth tags, that are just available to the youth. They do, um, I know they do youth fishing days and things like that. So I think they've done a pretty good job trying to get youth involved, um, in the outdoors and keep them away from computers so much, I guess.
yeah, that's an entirely other subject.
Yeah.
But it's fun. Yeah, my I've got 2 grandkids, 2 granddaughters. They're one's 2.5, the other one's 4 months old. But
Nice.
my wife, she got mad at me because we had a granddaughter, and she's like, "Papa, you gonna kill an elk this weekend?" I'm like, "That's the plan, sweetheart." And she's like, "I want to kill an elk." And my wife is like, "You're not taking her hunting." But she's also kind of like my shadow. Like she wants to be where I am. Fortunately, we live close, so we're able to see her pretty much on a
That's
daily
cool.
basis. And
That's cool.
I'm looking forward to, I'm going to let her get a little bit older. And um, I mean, 2.5's young, but it's fun to see her. She likes to go out and watch me shoot the bow. And,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's all I'm doing right now is archery.
Archery.
Is just, I'm trying, like, until I kill something, um, I'm just going to stick with the bow.
Oh, that's really
And of
cool.
course, you pick the
The hardest to start with.
most. Yeah,
Might
grab
just
a
gets
rifle. I'm
easier
gonna be
after that, man.
once I start hunting with the rifle, I'm like, why didn't I just do this to begin with?
Most people do it the other way around. Uh,
But yeah, but
oh,
that's a
that's
lot of
cool.
fun.
I remember years ago, my daughter is now 17. But back when she was like 6, 7 years old, me and her older brothers would be sitting there watching YouTube videos on hunting and stuff like that, and she'd walk through the room and she'd say, "Hey, that's a big deer," or she'd walk through the room and the elk would bugle and she'd bugle back, with her
Yeah,
voice and things like that. So it's really cool to watch them. I tell you, I've killed elk, I've killed deer, I've killed moose. I've done a lot of hunting, but my most favorite experiences of all of my hunting are watching my kids uh, have successful hunts. It's amazing to be right there and watch your kids be successful and feel that rush and that energy and that
yeah.
it's pretty awesome.
That's where I'm at. I mean, with my son Jackson, who we're out with, I'm like, the goal is to get him something, but we'll kind of like split up, and it's like unless something just stumbles in front of me, like
Yeah,
those cows that were coming down, it's like, well,
we'll take it.
if opportunity presents itself, and he was probably a mile away from me, so it's not like they're hard enough to find,
Yeah,
let alone like try and get, hey, you need to like hoof it over here, and I try and keep a stock on and see him. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Jackson's, he was the one who got me into it, and
that's
he's yet
cool.
to harvest anything either. So like, I really want him to be able to like harvest an animal this
Yep,
year.
it's a
And like I
great
said, for
experience.
me, it's something if something stumbles in front of me, then I'll let her loose. But
Yeah, you think you're a big tough guy until that happens and your kids harvest, and then all of a sudden there's big hugs and tears and all kinds of stuff, and it's it's a
yeah,
cool experience.
and I tend to be a pretty emotional guy too.
So do I.
Like, yeah, I can't remember what happened. We were watching something, but I got choked up, and my granddaughter, she's like, "Pop, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Papa's great. Papa's happy."
So
Oh, it was probably, I think it was when, yeah, like, got to hold, like, her little sister for the first time, you know?
oh, yeah.
It just it's those things that just those memories you create, and there's nothing like going out, with your son and that, like, just beating yourself up on the side of a
Oh, yeah.
mountain, and then being able once we get the job done, it's gonna be a lot of fun
Yeah,
to
even when you don't harvest, there's so many memories to be made.
Oh, yeah.
We backpacked into the UNAs one year, on an open bowl hunt, and, it was towards the end of the hunt, so, mid-September-ish, and the day we got in there, and the next day were just absolutely gorgeous, beautiful days, mid-70s, just beautiful September days, and, I remember we had taken our hammocks up so we'd go light and sleep in our hammocks and stuff. So we were sleeping there in our hammocks one night, and I looked up and I'm seeing light, and I'm like, which one of the boys is going up to the bathroom? Who's up with their flashlight? And then I realized, hey, that's lightning. Then I started feeling raindrops. I'm like, oh, boys, we're going to get wet. Luckily, my oldest boy said, hey, let's just take the little tent up so that we have a place to throw stuff and we can change in there and blah, blah, blah. So we bailed into the tent in the middle of the night. It was a little 4-man tent, which really is not a 4-man tent. So we had us and all of our gear and everything in this little 4-man tent. There was 4 of us. And that storm rolled in and it dumped about 6 inches of snow and the wind was howling. We could hear trees falling over all the way around us. We were stuck in that tent for 36 hours, the 4 of us. We were cooking inside that tent. We were sleeping inside that tent. We were doing everything just to stay warm inside that tent. Luckily, my oldest boy was dumb enough to pack his iPad up there, and he had a couple of
Uh-huh.
movies downloaded on his iPad, so we watched movies in the tent. But that was one of my favorite memories, being stuck in that little 4-man tent for 36 hours with my boys. It
Yeah.
wasn't a successful hunt, but man, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of good memories. I mean, just being out there,
Yeah.
stuff that we laugh about, and you talk about those thunderstorms, like when you're up in those high mountains, I won't go into a whole bunch of detail. I've shared it on some other podcasts, but man, I thought that was it for us.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like we were high, 10,000 feet elevation, and it's just dumping rain. And when the
Lightning.
lightning would flash, and it's like you can smell it.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh,"
Gonna
I'm
die.
like, I'm like, we're gonna die, and then your mother's gonna kill me again." Um, but it's yeah, that is one that is just completely unnerving, like
Yeah.
being up in those hills, and it's fun. And like now we look back and we kind of laugh
Oh, yeah.
about it, but we were out and that storm came in on opening weekend and the light started flashing, like we both looked at each other. We were both thinking like, yeah, little fortunately it like moved through quick, but yeah, you have those things those experiences that you flash back and you have memories of,
Oh,
and
yeah. For sure.
definitely changes things for sure.
Sure.
Well, Jeff, hey, as we wrap up here, I know you've been doing this for so long. You guys have a business that you've started,
We do.
in addition to your Nimrod Outdoors.
Yep. So
Tell me a little bit about that.
so the company is Sneak Tech. Um, Basically, our tagline is we're the leaders in stalking technology. We have products that help with smell, and we have products that help with sound. We're getting into one that is going to help with sight. You know, an animal has basically three defenses: its hearing, its sight, and its smell. And so we're attacking those three defenses on all ends. We have for the smell, we have a product called oh, it's a wind checker, and then we have one that's called Sneak Attack, which is a cover scent spray. It's natural natural smells like cedar, juniper, or sage, and it's not designed to eliminate smell, because you know you can't eliminate it. As soon as you start hiking, you're going to start sweating and you're going to smell again. But it's meant to cover that smell and give you just that extra 20, 30 seconds if necessary to get a shot off. You know, you're sneaking in on an animal. The wind swirls on you, like you said it did. The wind swirls on you and blows your human scent to them, and boom, they're alert, they're gone. But if it blows a scent to them that they're very familiar with, very comfortable with like sage smell or something like that, it may give you that extra 20, 30 seconds that you need to get that shot off. And so we're dealing with the smell. We're dealing with the wind with our wind checker. We have a product called our sneak boots. They're designed to go on your boot. They set like a slipper under your boot, and they are designed with recoil foam and Barbary fleece. So it reduces the sound that your feet make when you walk by up to like 80%. So really quiet walking. And then we're looking at a thing to do with the sight. But we're just trying to help people get sneakier as they're out in the woods. We have a lot of guys that are into wildlife photography that use them because it allows them to get close to the animals and be able to take pictures up close. So there are a lot of different things, really, really effective for the bow hunters. But we do have muzzleloader guys and rifle guys that use them all the time. So if you want to sneak up in your wife in the kitchen, put your sneak boots on and go get sneaky and scare the heck out of her. But it's been a lot of fun with this business, and it's just me and my kids that run it. We do all the marketing, the social media, the packaging, the all, we do it all right here at our house.
Everything.
So, yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, maybe if I had some of that cover scent, it would, at a minimum, confuse them long enough for me to get a shot off.
Exactly.
But, yeah. That's awesome. So if people want to go check it out, how would they find you guys?
They can find Nimrod Outdoors on all of our social media and on YouTube. They can find Sneak Tech at www.sneaktech.com. We also have social media.
TEC.
Yep, right there. SNEEK TEC, Sneak Tech.
For those of you that are listening on the podcast versus watching on YouTube.
There you go. But yeah, we have social medias for those as well: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube for Sneak Tech as well. So you can find us in a lot of different places.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, if you want to go check them out, Jeff. Hey, as we wrap up, like any advice that you would give to somebody that's new to hunting, that maybe is like one piece that's like in your mind was like, man, I wish someone would have told me that a lot sooner.
I would say the biggest piece of advice, and I tell my boys this all the time, enjoy the ride. Don't get caught up in everything. Don't, you see all this publicity on social media and all that kind of stuff, and you think you have to have a 200-inch buck or 400-inch bull. No, man, just enjoy the ride. Put some meat in the freezer. Enjoy the experience that you're creating. Don't put all this pressure on yourself to think you have to be something that you're not. You know what I mean? It's about the experience. The elk that I killed this year, it was a great bull, nice 6-point bull. Was it my number one or my number two? No, it wasn't. But I wouldn't trade that experience that I had getting 8 feet from a bull with my son right behind me and my others watching from the hill, I wouldn't trade that experience for a 400-inch bull.
Yeah.
It's about the experience, not the score. Just enjoy the
Yeah.
ride.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Like I said, like I've yet to harvest anything. I've been fine eating tag soup for the past 5 years, but
Yep,
but yeah,
done that a
there
lot.
I feel yeah, there's also like you said, there's a lot to be said by just the different types of memories that can be made,
Yeah,
regardless of the harvest success. So I think that's great advice. Well, Jeff, man, hey, I appreciate that. You guys, thank you for listening to the podcast. Make sure you give us a follow. Go over and check out Nimrod Outdoors and Sneak Tech. Give those guys a follow. We'll make sure and put links to everything in the show notes as well. So if you're looking for some of those type of products, you want to be extra sneaky or less smelly, check that out. And yeah, again, this is the fastest growing hunting podcast in the world.
awesome.
So thanks for listening. And yeah, if you learned something here and you feel like there was something that you took away, please share this podcast with a friend and stay safe and God bless.